Did this journey at all make you want to go back to your own roots and find out about who you are? And can you talk about that a little bit?
I did. Matter of fact, my daughter, Karan, um, when I was with Sammy Davis Jr., I was finishing a movie called Sweet Charity with Shirley MacLaine.
Yep.
Sammy Davis Jr. And Sammy, and well, I was really pissed at Sammy.
Why?
Well, Sam went on TV, television in those days. We had three channels. The fourth channel came out. And he said, well, I know how hard it is for us in this business. So is there any young black entertainer out there? I think no. In those days, we were Negroes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And colored.
We were colored.
Negro, you're right.
And want to talk to me, I'm open to talking to him. So I mean, you know how much courage it took for me to get up this kid from Brooklyn, and we opened Caesar's Palace. I'm there at Caesar's Palace, and I'm going in the casino, which I'm hearing stories of Lena Horne, Pearl Bailey had to be in trailers outside and walk through the slop before they got on stage. Now I'm staying in a hotel, in an apartment right across the street from the Caesar's Palace, and I'm coming in there, and I'm standing there. I see Joe Lewis walking down, and how the mob would give him money, and I'm standing. Wilk still gave me money to gamble. And I mean, I'm like, wow, I'm this kid from Brooklyn. Look at me. And then Sammy says he'll talk to me. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm waiting one day for Sam to come to the Nero's Nook, which is a lounge they had there where people like checkmates would hang out, and the platters would hang out. And so he was coming in, walking with 50 of his closest friends. So I walk over and I go, Mr. Davis, I heard that he said, talk to my secretary. I went, what?
Mm.
Really?
Mm.
Oh, okay. So then I get to show Sweet Charity. I'm on tour with Chita Rivera. Mm-hmm. We end up in Canada. I get a telegram. We want you, and I'm doing Daddy Brubeck, a role in the show. I got to sing my own solo. I was excited. I don't let Bob Fosse trusted me with this role. Now I get this telegram. We want you to come to Hollywood to star in the movie Sweet Charity. And I went, wow, I'm going to be doing the role of Daddy Brubeck. Then I get to the movie, and they say, no, Sammy Davis is going to do this role. So I had an attitude.
Mm.
Take my role too, man. I have nothing to do with you. He came on, he walks in and says, Sammy's too sick to do the role. I went, whoa, I'm up for the part. Yeah. So I'm standing online, and who should walk through the door in a wheelchair? Sammy Davis Jr. And everybody goes, oh, Sam, oh, Sam, oh, Sam. I go, I sit back. So Sam notices I have this attitude, man. He goes, hey, don't come from the show. He says, invite everybody over. We're going to have this luncheon with everybody. Everybody goes, I stand outside. So Sammy sends over one of his henchmen. He says, Mr. Davis, like to have dinner with you in Little Santa Monica. I said, yeah, all right, cool. I got so excited. I went and bought a brand new suit. I got to the hotel like an hour before, right? I mean, to the restaurant. I said, my name is Benjamin Vereen. And Mr. Davis said, wait, whoa. Well, not me, Let's see if you're on the list. Says, Benjamin, I said, yeah. Okay, come in. So I go to this long table, and I'm sitting at this long table. I got there like at 6:30. We want to be there at 7:30 was dinner. And I'm looking around the room. There's Joey Bishop. There's Dean Martin. There's Lucio Ball. All these celebrities sitting around the room. And I'm sitting at this long table smoking, waiting for Sammy. 9:30, no Sammy. I'm sitting there. I said, 9.
Mm.
I said, okay. So you guys, you're not coming. So I got up, I started to leave. Who walks in? Sammy with the same 50 closest friends. He says, oh, sit down. He says, I did a show called Golden Boy some years ago on Broadway, and I'm thinking about doing it again, taking it to London. So now it's a different time because we got the Black Panthers. There's a black movement going on, and we need somebody who's angry, who's defiant. And his agent says, nudges me, go, ask him for the role. And what? He said, ask him for the role. I said, Mr. Davis, you got the role. So he hires me to do Golden Boy, right? So we says, now we're going to do the show in Chicago, then we're going to London. And he says, "Do you have a passport?" I said, "No, I don't have a passport." he said, okay, just write down to where you were born, and they'll send you your birth certificate, and you got the passport, and you're gone. I said, okay. So I write down to Florida, Miami, Florida. I get this letter back saying, we do not have a Benjamin Augustus Vereen born to an Essie Vereen. However, we do have a born to a Pauline Vereen. However, we do have a Benjamin Augustus Middleton born to an Essie Middleton on that date.
What?
Wait, and that's how you found your roots.
So I write down I call my mother. I say, Mom, you got to call these people. I'm Sammy Davis Jones taking me to London. And I need my passport. I need your blah, 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 blah. And they say that I read her the letter. And she went, it was quiet. I said, Mom?
Whoa.
And she said, I was hoping you'd never know. And that's how I began my journey. Then my daughter, when I had my daughters, they came to me, babies came to me and said, Dad, all we have is Mom. And but we don't have any, we're gonna have children one day. And we didn't know who's in our, so I said, okay, so I started searching. I was down in Mexico and ran into a friend named Lefevre, Roxy Lefevre. And this lady and I got to talk and went to Mexico to get a vitamin drip because in those days you couldn't get vitamins in the States. So I
Back
go
then?
back there. So I go down I meet her and we go to dinner and she starts telling me she's a genealogist. So I said, oh yeah. She said, well, and I started telling my story. She said, well, why don't we go searching? So I go to her office in Washington D.C. She worked for the Pearson. And that's when the journey began. And I found my family about, what is it, Kabara, 16 years ago?
15, yeah, 15 years ago around.
Found my family. And here's the ironic thing. It's I'll read this in the book. The book is much better than this interview I'm doing.
No, this interview is much better than your career retrospective. Like this might be my favorite episode of Questlove Supreme.
You haven't.
I did not know this was coming.
So
It's
I,
better.
so I so we start searching. And here's a wonderful story. When I got married at a very young age, it was to the bishop's daughter of the Holiness Church. When I find my family, come to find out my grandfather was the originator of the Holiness churches in the South, Pearsons. Now, here's the thing. My first father-in-law, we go to a place in Connecticut, New Haven, Connecticut. We had a thing called convocation. That's where, all the black churches get together and we celebrate, And so when I found my family, I called my sister Gloria, and it was so weird. You know how it is. You find you just like, it was, what a conversation. I said, hello? She said, hi. I said, Gloria? She said, yeah. I said, my name is Benjamin. Um, I'm your brother. She said, yeah, they're telling me, told me that. So how she found out, she said, someone called and said, you better sit down. She said, why? She said, got another brother. He said, I know I got a brother. He said, no, you better sit down. She said, yeah, she said, they
It's
found
your older sister, huh?
older sister. She
Yeah.
said, yeah, his name is Benjamin. She said, Benjamin? She said, yeah. She said, I got my Eugene. She said, no, you have another brother. His name is Ben Vereen. You better sit down. So I call her and I say who I am, introduce myself. And they said that year they were having my family, part of the family was the hosts, the Pearsons. And so in Connecticut. Now I lived an hour away from my mother my entire life and never.
Wow.
Never. And here's the thing: we're sitting at the table that at the reunion, and my wife there, my children, my grandchildren, And we're sitting there celebrating. There was only supposed to be 50 or 60 people showing up. There was 100 or 200 people showed up when they found out I was part of the family. They all come to Connecticut. And we're sitting at the table, and in walks my first wife's aunt. And she looks at me. She said, "You're Essie's son?"
Oh God.
I said, "Yes." She said, "Essie was my best friend."
What?
So I could have been in church with my first family, sitting next to my mother and never knew it.
And it's heartbreaking because she also really admired
She
him as an
my,
artist and she was a fan
oh,
of his. And she would, when he was on television, she would shut off, she would tell everybody to be quiet because she had to have full attention on my father's performances. And but she didn't know that was her son. It's so heartbreaking.
he said, didn't know. And
Yo,
I found
how
her.
messed up.
She was gone when I found her. But you got to understand something. In the Black community in those days, they do things like that.
Yeah. It's like you just send somebody off or you
You just like, look, the woman who lived upstairs from us on Herkimer Street, she had 14 kids because the government, they said, you don't have to work, just have babies. So she'd have babies, And there was a lot of that going on in what they call the ghetto. And
yeah.
so the story I got was my mother just came from New Orleans, where she got into an altercation, it'd be in the book. And she was working as an orderly at the hospital in Miami. She was coming home one night, she told me. It was raining, and she was standing in the hall in the doorway, and there was this woman standing beside her, was pregnant, and they got a conversation. Her name was Essie. They got a conversation going on. And she invited the woman home to her home. And she said a few days later, she had pregnant. I came. And she said she went to work, came home, and there was a note beside me saying, "I don't want to take it." And she said, "Okay, little man, let's go to New York City." And it's an interesting thing about that scenario because I told my sister, I said, I'm sorry. I wasn't here for you as a brother. She looked at me, she said, "Don't be sorry." She said, "If you came with us, you probably wouldn't be Ben Vereen."